There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one holy substance flowing in and throughout creation. And right here in this very moment, you are an expression of it. You are a beloved expression. All love's perfection. So raise your hands and celebrate. You know there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Sing it. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. And that life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. And that life is perfect. That life is my life now. My life is God's life. One life. It's God's life. My life is God's life. One life. God's life. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Say, there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now.
Please join me in prayer. This beautiful late spring day, we come together to celebrate the process of awakening through delivering holy moments to one another and to others all around us. What we know is that as unique expressions of the divine, that we carry an unextinguishable light within, that we have the power to share with others, to lift them up into that greatest expression of the divine that each of them is meant to be. And we celebrate the remainder of this month talking about those holy moments, how we can gift them to each other and to ourselves. And what we know is that Spirit will speak through Reverend Steve today to deliver a message of hope, love, and joy that each of us needs to hear, everyone within the sound of my voice. I give thanks for everyone who's come together to make this service possible. And I know that everything that takes place here will be absolutely perfect in every way, just like each of these beautiful expressions of the divine here in this room with me and in this space. I give thanks for each and every one of them and release these words into the law that knows how to mold, make, shape, and create all the good there is all the time, everywhere, right here and right now. I let this go, I let it be. Together we affirm. And so it is. Got words of inspiration. I decided I'd bring 4 since they're all kind of short today. Our first words come from Eckhart Tolle. Awareness is the greatest agent for change. From Thich Nhat Hanh, enlightenment is when a wave recognizes that it's the ocean. From Ram Dass, we're all just walking each other home. And from our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, in this divine awakening, there seems to be an inner witness that remembers that we came from a heavenly state. We have got young Reverend Steve Kindsfather here again, you know. Every time we've asked Steve to come, he eagerly agrees. And he came, Denise brought him to us and came fresh out of ministerial school. Every time I hear him, his message has more depth and weight, and it's just stronger. He's a wonderful light. He led our practitioner retreat. Retreat. Might have to have a chat with him about that. That might be kind of fun. Anyway, without further ado, here's Reverend Steve.
Thank you, Russell. Guess you can see that's kind of an old photograph for you. And I always appreciate when you know I'm speaking and you came anyway. Thank you, Ken, for your heart and your music and that which you share. And to Russell, you had me scared there for a while, and you're just in prayers and know that we love and care for you, and the energy that you bring is contagious, and that's a good energy to have contagious. And the New Dawn staff, there's many people, I don't know what all you do, but I know it gets done, and from bookkeeping and record keeping and snacks, one of my favorites, and those, just all the behind the scenes and what it takes to be a practitioner. I know what that is, and you have wonderful practitioners here, so that's why I'm eager to come and speak here. And just last Sunday, they announced at Mile High that I am on staff there now, so I'll be a focus minister there. You won't see me on the platform much, but working with our affinity groups and behind the scenes, and Mile High is pretty big. It's my home, that's where I grew up, and so to be on staff now feels good, and we'll let that unfold as it should as well. So I am speaking today about the Holy Moments book. Russell asked me if I would learn about this, and I bought it online. He said, well, I had a copy for you, but that's okay. I love what's said in here, and I'm going to present the first chapter, kick it off with the first chapter of Awakening, and I do recommend it, and the author is Matthew Kelly. So if I forget to recognize that again when I say Matthew Kelly says, that's because he's the author of this book. And I'll just be covering the first section, but there's 7 sections of the first chapter, which is that of Awakening. And this is something I think was right in line. Interrupting our destructive habits and awakening our hearts is the work of a lifetime. So awaken your hearts, and until you're no longer breathing in this form, it's part of your work. And the takeaway today is that holy moments, we create them. And we also first have to recognize them. That's what the awakening is about, to recognize those holy moments first. And they're the smallest things. Sometimes it's a fleeting thing, and sometimes it's a ongoing or unfolding. Sunrises are one that comes to mind. You watch the sun disappear into the ocean and that green ball thing or whatever, and then another sunset over the mountains, and then it comes up again, the sun rises. That's an example of holy moments for me. But just recognize them in the smallest of things. The first of the sections, of the 7 sections that I want to address today, is more to offer. And what Kelly says is, this is when we are feeling that we or that life has something more to offer. We often see ourselves as in a human malfunction or a lack of something in our lives. And when we go there, Kelly says that's really a spiritual calling. It's correct to have that feeling. He says at holy moments, it's very right to have those thoughts or feelings because they're a call to explore what they mean, or they're calling us to discover and to do. So take that as a charge. I wish I had something more. It's calling you to do something. What you feel you're lacking, you're probably not. You just haven't recognized it yet, is how I see it. And it is true that you and life do have more to offer. Never lose your holy curiosity. I think that's wonderful, and I see myself in this as a kid, that we all have our places where we need to get away from family. We just want to read. So he's found a place, took his flashlight and his book and discovering and finding those holy moments, and do that as often as you can. And I think Albert Einstein knew something about doing and discovering. The section 2, the next section, are the 2 hungers. We start discovering spirituality. That's when we hunger for more. It's the Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert that talk about the 2 hungers, the great hunger and the little hunger. And the little hunger first is for food. The great hunger is for meaning in our life. And it's addressed here in the book. That means doing what is meaningful to you. We can satisfy that hunger when we meditate or just even wonder about our purpose, our direction, and our calling in life. So just that one little thing of the hunger. The hunger for food is necessary to keep us alive, but our spiritual hunger is also equally as necessary. This is a quote from Kelly. Some moments are holy, some are unholy, and our choices can guide a moment in either direction. So that comes up a few times throughout the book. We're always at choice, that choice point. And I learned it as S plus R equals O. Situation plus response equals the outcome. How we choose to look at something in any given moment can make it a holy or unholy moment. Different way of saying it. I like the way he states that. Section 3 is a moment of clarity. Clarity is found in spiritual messages and in spiritual messengers. They are often those aha moments. That's what I like to call them. As stated, some of those moments are holy and some moments are unholy. It's our choice that can guide that moment in either direction. And when we collaborate with God, we create experiences and holy moments. Create them and experience them, collaborating with God. I'd like to share when I was about 12 years old, I don't remember the exact age, but my dad loved being out in nature and fishing, and I did too, especially with my dad. So it was he and I have a younger brother and an older sister. So I was the oldest son and got to do a lot of those things first, and Dad's number 1 son. And we headed off in the old station wagon to go fishing. I had no clue where. I know I had a little bit of my gear and that Dad would take care of the rest. And after driving dirt roads for a little bit, we pulled off at a spot that was big enough to get the car out of the way. Aspen grove and trees. And I thought, I don't see the water. He said, according to my maps, and he would do this, he had topographical maps and all kinds of geological survey maps and find where pockets of water were, little lakes that nobody knew about, and he loved being at those spots. So he also had a gold pan that he would do gold panning in the rivers, and it also served as a frying pan when we caught fish. And so that was something that he would carry around and bring in. He had a few matches. I always had a little pack of worms, and he told me how you can lift up a rock and find worms, and we would do that sometimes. But if we brought them from home, that made sure we had them instead of artificial lures or salmon eggs. So he went to tie the gold pan on his pack and said, oh, dang, that hook broke. I don't have a string. And I said, well, I could take my shoestring out. And he said, you could, but you need your shoes on. Don't worry about it. But would you carry it? I said, sure. And the fishing pole we brought was a telescopic one. It fits all in a fiberglass tube. You take off one end, and like an old car antenna, the sections keep coming out. Put on about 4 to 6 feet of line with a hook on it. And he said, that's what we were taking. So we start walking up this hill, aspen trees and grass, and I look up, and on a little twig is a piece of cord about 1 foot long, a little less than perfect cord to tie the hole in the gold pan, tie that on my backpack. I said, Dad, look, will you grab that? And that was a holy moment for me that I discovered that was what we needed and God provided. I said, if I went to the surplus store or the hardware store, that's what I would buy, a piece of cord like that. So we tied the gold pan on. And he said, we walked up over the top of the hill, and sure enough, there was the water we were expecting. And he said, be real quiet. Don't let them know we're here, and I'll rig up the pole and see if something's in there. And I thought, okay, that's cool. And I'm standing by. Puts the fishing pole out with a line, a little worm on there, rigged it up much faster than I would have. Dropped it down in there, boom, decent brookie hooks on there. Pulled it out, and it was, not catch and release. It was just a pond. And he says, okay, it's your turn now. And he says, but wait a minute. I want you to hold the pole behind you. I stood about where he was for putting it in the water, and he set up where the back of the pole would be up above me in the grass. And he said, don't jerk on it, but every time you catch a fish, all you have to do is hold it back. I'll take it off and reload the bait. And so that was another holy moment for me. Right away, as soon as you drop it in over the willows, kind of that string down in there, boom, the fishing line. I loved catching fish the easy way, and I didn't have to do any of the baiting or rehooking. Just hold the pole back, and Dad fixed that for me. So we ended up cleaning the fish and cooking a couple of them in the gold pan with its new cord on there. So that's one of my holy moments that I remember just came to me. Section 4, moving along, is when life finally makes sense. When we discover that some moments are holy and some are unholy, our choices can guide them. But life finally begins to make sense too. And there are too many people that feel like they're exiled from God. They don't have that connection or that spirituality. Holy moments are just, oh, that's something in life, or that was good and that was bad. And they don't take it to that deeper level. And that's what I'm asking you today too. To do that and feel every holy moment give meaning and divine purpose to our lives. Holy moments inject meaning into every moment of your life. So look for those little ones or big ones and start building them and collecting them. Collecting those holy moments is how I like to think of it. Eckhart Tolle, most humans are never fully present in the now because unconsciously they believe that the next moment must be more important than this one. Thinking ahead, looking ahead. But then you miss your whole life, which is never not in the now. So that's anchoring in the moment. We're always present in this moment. It's all we have. So what is a holy moment? And going back to Kelly on this. Holy moment is a single moment in which you open yourself to God. You make yourself available to God. You set aside your personal preferences and self-interest, and for one moment, you do what you prayerfully believe God is calling you to do. Emerson said, getting our bloatest nothingness out of the way. That's what I think of when I read this. It's not about us, it's about us and God. Meister Eckhart, I believe, said, between God and I, there is no between. Section number 6 is the moment of decision. And Matthew Kelly suggests, if you learn to master one thing in your life, learn to master the moment of decision. We make choices, or try to make choices, that are easy to live with. We're always making choices, and sometimes we regret those choices. I know we all have done something we thought would be the best for us, and we regretted not going the other way. But he says regrets reveal that we need to become better decision makers. So look at that. I found a way that fails. That's one less solution that doesn't work. Find a new way. Become a better decision maker. Decisions shape our life. We make the future with our choices, and our choices have power. What if a person had incredible power and didn't use it for good? What if that person is you? I want you to know that you do have power. And I think nature is a wonderful teacher of spirituality. Nature provides us with so many things. I'm not going to go. It provides us with endless examples of coexisting in harmony. Nature surrounds us with life and possibilities. And I think all of nature, probably humans are the least aware that we're all interconnected. Nature just knows that. And the bees pollinate and take this here, and this animal does this, and the ecosystem is so codependent, and nature knows that. So it's a wonderful teacher when we learn about that. And that's what Walt Whitman has to say about that. There is a universe around us that which responds to us in the rock and the brook, from the tree and the wind and the wave. All those things are potential for holy moments, finding them. And as Russell said, when the wave realizes it's the ocean. You've got a lot of good things to say, Russell. And I appreciate hearing them. And the last section is section 7 of the Holy Moments book, and it's entitled, The Rest of Your Life. And it's the section where Matthew Kelly is asking us, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? More of the same? Continue to distract yourself with meaningless nonsense? Are you focused on what you can get as opposed to what you can give, or that reciprocity? And he says, hang on, I lost my place here. Oh, will you keep on daydreaming about a change you know that you will never make? And we do that. We put our dreams aside a lot of times, that daydream. And this is a statement from my fellow minister now at Mile High, Zamira. You are the master builder for your own experience of God. And I love that, being the builder that I am. Some of you know that was my trade. I was following my dad's footsteps as a carpenter, loved the smell of sawdust and things. And in middle school, Skinner Middle School, junior high school it was called then in Northwest Denver, one of my carpentry classes was to build on graph paper. We had a little piece of masonite and graph paper, and then little styrofoam walls that we cut them to match the size and make little rooms. And I made mine at a 45-degree angle, so it didn't line up exactly to the graph paper, but I just thought it was a cool design, and building it really gave me an interest, and it sparked my interest to build my own house someday. So that was one of my daydreams that I decided to do. And I did become a carpenter. I had my own business for a while. And then I also became a teacher, an instructor. And my first teaching was in juvenile corrections in a locked shop. I wasn't much older than they were. And I taught them how to build a shed and how to use mathematics and how to work with your hands and create something that others could appreciate and build it the best that you could. And then I went on to get hired by Arapahoe Community College, and we were paired up with the local housing authority, Littleton Housing Authority, and they provided the land and the materials, and each 9-month school year, we built a different house on a different lot, and at the end of that 9 months, there was a home completely finished, ready to be moved into. And I taught my students those skills. I taught them to be ready, and I taught my students to have pride in their accomplishments, and they had skills for a lifetime. And I brought a piece of cardboard with me today. One of my classes, my students knew that Terry and I, they didn't know that I designed it myself. Well, I guess they did. My wife and I found a vacant lot up in Golden, and the sloping lot and the neighborhood. We designed the house to fit there, and then I physically built that house. And my students were asking me, could I see the blueprints of your house? And so that was one of my lessons I did actually share. I didn't share where it was, but that's my correctional background of not wanting them to know where I live. But I did bring my blueprints through the drawings and showed them, different things and why we did this and the sizes of things, because it was probably 2 or 3 times bigger than the schoolhouses we were building. Anyway, one day I got an Amazon package, and I went out, and written on top of the package was, thanks for all the construction knowledge, Lance, 2004 ACC student. He was an Arapahoe Community College student that took my program, and he recognized my name on the package and then recognized the house from seeing those blueprints. So I kept this because it was a holy moment. And all those years later, thanking me for the skills that I had given him. And he went on to be successful in that. How am I doing on time? Okay. I'll share another Steve's Holy Moment story of I loved what I did. I had a shop at Sheridan High School and a truck to go to and from the job site and the tools, and we'd start at my shop and I would teach them all about safety, and we built a team. We had officers elected, how to read the blueprints and do a lot of the knowledge and those kind of things in the shop setting while the foundation was being poured. And then we did a lesson on foundations, and from then on, each section we not only did a lesson on it and learned the terms, we actually installed that part of the house. I loved it. And years went on where I had a lady helping us. She was an architect and a builder, and she just would help me as the instructor. The students would draw a plan. The architectural program would draw a plan for next year's house. The housing authority say, this is how big our lot is, so we want this with a detached garage in the back. And if there was 8 students in the architectural program, they got 8 plans, and one of them was selected to be built that next year. And a young lady from Sheridan High School, living in a trailer at the poverty level, she took that architectural class and her plans were selected. And the next year she took my class and built the house that she had designed. Holy moment. So things started falling apart though. They fired that lady that was so supportive and would work with the students' drawings. They were taking things away from me and my shop, less privileges. The housing authority said we're kind of running out of lots. I came back from the job site one day and my plywood rack, I had a stand-up rack with all the sheets of 4x8 goods and stuff. They were laying in the middle. That rack was torn out and the sheets were just scattered all over like if somebody dropped a deck of cards. And that's usually where I parked my truck. So I stopped partway and went up to talk to the principal. I said, what's going on here? And he said, oh, we're putting metal cabinets in there. And I said, well, all my paints and everything are already stored in metal safety cabinets. No, it's not for you. The football team's going to be storing their uniforms in your shop. And I'm like, that was like the final straw. And so I was under PERA, which is Public Employees Retirement Association, and your retirement, if you want to have a full retirement, your age and your years of service need to add up to 80. And I was 50 years old and had 25 years in. So I was short about 5 years. And they said, well, come down to meet with one of our representatives. And I did that a couple afternoons later. Set an appointment, went down to the para office. And I said, who I am. And I said, I want to know what my retirement would be now. My beautiful, loving situation at work has changed so drastically, it's not right for me to be there anymore. And he says, well, let's look. And he said, you're 50 and you have 30 years of experience. 30 years. And I said, what? And he said, you bought 25 years of service credit. And I had forgot that. Well, my mom's sister, my aunt passed away, left me some money, and I put that into buying years of service credit. So I retired at age 50 with almost a full retirement. I asked him, okay, I know I'll be bringing in less in retirement than my paycheck is. What's the difference going to be? He said, about $100 a month less. Cha-ching, holy moment. I spent that much on gas driving to work. I could make that much on a side job, doing a tile job or something for somebody in one afternoon. I'd make that $100 a month up. So that was a holy moment that changed my career path and my life and made me still proud of teaching, but it was time to move on. And 2 years after I left, the entire school shut down. They closed and things. So we should use this one short life to make a change. And if you're ready to make that change, it only takes a handful of holy moments to flood your soul with joy. Holy moments show us a new and exciting vision and choices for living the rest of our lives. And this quote is by a really famous guy. Can you see it? Do I need to read it for the recording? Would help those that are watching online. It's by me, so not that famous of a guy, but I did come up with this. When we take time to stop and smell the flowers, we find ourselves in a fragrant field of holy moments. And I'd ask that you join me in a closing prayer. If it feels comfortable to close your eyes, just move to that center. Know that you are a gift. You're absolutely on this planet at this time for a reason. When we find our calling, it's such a blessing. That too is a holy moment when we find our calling and we act on it And that calling changes as we get more skills, as we get older, as we discover new holy moments. We just allow ourselves to be divinely guided. Do we make wise decisions? We make our decisions from our future self. How will this affect me in the future? Is it giving? Is it in alignment with the divine? Is it the loving, caring that God is, that presence within each of us? Are we honoring that? Are we operating from that space of heart and love and joy? And when we do that, every moment becomes a holy moment. And we just anchor in that, knowing that whatever's going on in the world and those things we see on TV or comments we hear that just hurt us in the heart, it's not the deep heart, the place that knows no fear or lack. We move to that place of centering that is the truth, is divinely guided. For God is you, in you, and as you. And just claim that truth together by saying, and so it is.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. Sing it with me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. Keep that going. You sing it. We Spirit divine, come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love lives in me. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. You are Spirit divine. Come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love lives in me. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am whole. Oh, Spirit divine, come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love